Hey there, I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Davy.
And we're just two Asian women having candid conversations about whatever the hell we want to talk about with an intersectional flair.
That being said, today's topic is friendships and the lessons we learn from them. Get comfy and stick around.
So welcome back everyone to Just Two Asian Women. I'm Carolyn, and if you're new here, we're just going to give a brief intro of ourselves again. I'm Carolyn, and I'm Laotian American. I am 25 years old. I currently work in the environmental field as an environmental analyst.
Hi everyone, my name is Davy and I'm 25. I'm Cambodian American. I am currently a long-term sub. I am subbing 8th grade math, though my teaching credential is in social sciences, single subject. I love psychology. I like making YouTube videos, roller skating, hanging out with friends, interested in political science, and just like social justice. And we're going to be talking about everything friendships.
Yes. So some of you may or may not know, but Davy and I would consider us pretty good friends.
Yes. I mean, we're making a podcast.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if we weren't friends and we had this whole ass podcast.
Right.
But I just feel like we vibe really well. I mean, I don't usually throw out the term best friend anymore because every time I've actively said like out loud that someone was my best friend, they became not my best friend soon thereafter.
Yes, we have some best friend trauma.
Yes, I'm all like, I can't say it. Oh, it's gonna be over if I do. I'm gonna jinx it. Literally 3 times, bitch.
Oh
It happened.
no.
I know. And I'm all like, yeah, that's a lot. Anyway.
I'm so sorry. That is a lot. Yeah, I'm the same way though. Like ever since high school, while I did have best friends, I never like calling them my best friends. I think I was just scared for the same reason. What if I called them my best friends? Put it out there. It's a very like committal term label, and then what happens? One of them I'm not friends with anymore. We can talk about it later.
Yes, we definitely will. There's no need to put like any big labels on friendships because they're just so, I feel like they're very ambiguous anyway. So we're gonna jump into what Davy and I look for in a friendship, and maybe you'll find some like similarities in what we look for in a friendship, or maybe it will help you get a good list together of what you want in a friend so that you could stop having toxic friends.
Yes. Go for it.
So for me, I nowadays, as a 25-year-old, I really am looking for someone who is as kind of like goal oriented as I am. I think I heard this from you, Davy, in one of your YouTube videos. Quick promo, Davy Yap on YouTube. We'll put a link somewhere.
Yes.
And you said in that video, you are the average of the 5 closest people around you, right?
Yes.
So for me, I want to continue with being like ambitious and thinking about my future and doing what I can to build a good life for myself, my dogs, my fiance.
My dogs.
Yeah. I'm like, who else? And my potential future family, right? And I'm 25. I don't know. I don't want to hang out with people who are unconcerned about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Like we kind of want them to have the same values as you. Not exactly, but pretty much similar.
Exactly. And other things I look for in a friendship, I do look for someone who has like a good sense of humor, someone who cares about things and they care about other people. So they're not going to be self-absorbed or anything like that. I also like someone who is vulnerable, someone who's willing and actively takes accountability where they can, and someone who's willing to have like a mature conversation. And I guess how you define mature, it differs between everyone, but for me, when I know.
Right.
And also to add, my last point is that I want someone who's more liberal, to be quite honest. We'll get into that later, but like if I know that you voted for Trump, I might be like, I'm just gonna head out now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anyway.
totally. No, I think political ideology among friendship is really important. And maybe it's not to you. Maybe some people don't talk about politics with friends, and that's totally okay. And we'll talk about that too.
Yes.
So I totally look for friendships like everything like Carolyn has said, I agree with. So just to add upon that is I look for a supportive friend. I have a lot of ideas and I just like, validation. So whenever I tell my friends about all my
Yes.
ideas, like making YouTube video, making podcasts, they're all so supportive. No one's like, what? That's kind of weird, So AKA I have supportive, non-judgmental friends. Because
Exactly. Wouldn't it suck every time you're excited to do something, someone's all like, but why would you do that?
yeah.
And it's all like, okay, you're so not helpful right now.
Right. Like you don't need to understand me 100%, but like, see what it is. But yeah. I also look for in a friend who like checks up on me, either like calling me or texting me, because that's what I'm trying to do too. Like sometimes I have this weird thought like, oh, if I call or text my friend, I'll bother them. But they're my friends, so if they're busy, they'll let me know. So
Agreed.
anyway, I appreciate when my friends check up on me. And a big thing too is I think what makes a really deep friendship is holding each other accountable.
Mhm.
For example, like, hey, you told me you wanted me to tell you if you're going out too much during COVID. So I didn't get better at this, but I really appreciate a friend who keeps me accountable and calls me on my bullshit. Because I think that's when you really know you're comfortable, but also like you have a friend who really cares about you. Because if they kind of let you slide and kind of like spiral into something, or just don't hold their word to say like to check up on you or to hold you accountable, then you know maybe that's not as strong as a friendship, and I want strong friendships.
I agree. It's like the other friend might be, I don't know, if they don't call you out, even though they want you to, then what is that stemming from? Like a fear that the other person's gonna lash out at them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I think that's my fear. It's kind of like I'm afraid of defensiveness,
Hmm.
but then
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm working on. I was like, I don't care. Like, they're my friend. Like I gotta tell them what's up.
exactly. You got to keep it real. You don't want a yes man. You want a friend.
Exactly.
And a friend is, they are going to push you to be better, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to validate you, understand you, but at the same time, if you're acting up, they're going to call you on the bullshit, as you said. So, we're talking about what we want other people to be and what we look for in other people, but it's important that, that we need to be a good friend too. We can't just be like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to be this. So, ways that we think that we're a good friend to our friends. When we were thinking about this topic, I really had to think about this question because sometimes I feel like maybe I'm not a good as a friend that I could be, because I am totally fine just kind of like being a hermit, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple months go by and I'm like, I barely talk to anyone. And it's usually fine with me. But so
Right.
like I shouldn't be fine with it.
Right.
But
Because what if your friends are like, I wonder why she hasn't, hit me up
yeah,
in a while.
exactly. And they could call me, but like the whole point of this is like it's not always about them having to do something for me. I need to do something. The energy that you put out, you give back, or
Yeah,
you get
totally.
back. Excuse me.
Yeah, I agree. And especially if like I have some friends like where it is pretty usual that we talk like every week or
Mhm.
every like 3 or 4 days. That just happens to be like the natural rhythm. So like if it's I notice it's like been a week and I haven't said anything yet or I haven't reached out, like I know I need to reach out.
Mhm. I guess ways that I'm a good friend, even though I definitely could improve.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like I'm a good listener, and you
Yes.
could correct me on anything, Davi. I feel like I'm a really good listener and that I have something good to contribute to the conversation whenever I'm having a conversation with my friend. And I also feel like I know how to get my friends to open up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you do. Like for example, you probably notice in the podcast when Caroline or I talk, like we just let each other talk, and at the very end we'll like say something. So like that's how she is really good at being an active listener. And on top of that, she kind of she validates you and basically kind of paraphrases what you say, so you're being heard.
Yeah, so I think those are ways that I am a good friend, and a way that I can improve. I should probably just keep a better schedule of when to reach out to people. I don't. I used to actually keep a schedule of last time I contacted someone,
Oh,
but that just went out the window.
yeah, that
I
was a
need
good
to
try.
I need to bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back.
I feel that. Like how we like schedule work things, we should
Mm.
also like schedule pleasure things. Working out, talking to friends, whatever. I think for me, how I'm a good friend is I'm pretty supportive and reliable. So I'm reliable in terms of like if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna follow through pretty much every time. If I don't, they'll let you know and like say, hey, I need a few more days to do X, Y, or Z. So I find it really important for people to find me reliable. I'm like always usually on time. If I tell you I'm gonna meet you tomorrow, I usually don't rain check, but if we do, then I'll follow up with you. I will follow up with you the second time.
Hmm.
And then another way I'm really like a good friend is I'm really supportive. So like Carolyn, Wen are like some of my very creative friends. And as an artist, you need a lot of support. So like I like to go to their live streams or like their exhibitions, share their work because you have to be there for your friends and like whatever they do.
I totally agree with that. And
You
yes,
do it.
I can confirm that Davi does do all of that. You always comment on my post, like, yes, algorithm. So thank you for that.
Yeah, if y'all didn't know on Instagram, if you really want to support a friend who's like a creative, if you share their posts and comment like can you summarize the order of priority that Instagram gives?
Yes, the priority, it's actually allegedly sharing the post is the
Mhm.
best. But if you don't want to do that, commenting helps a lot. Just comment anything, like think of
Yeah,
something, use your
an
brain.
emoji. I just
Yeah.
like sometimes I just be sitting here like I don't know, a smiley face or something
I'm
because I don't
totally
know what
cool
to
with that.
say.
I'm totally
Yeah,
cool with that.
yeah.
And liking the post obviously is something you could do. You could also save it. Though a little tangent, there's like a rumor going around that saving is like a super like, but it's never been
Oh.
confirmed by anyone or anything. And I think there was a post from someone who works for Instagram, and they were like, "Look, there's this rumor going around that saves or like super likes, but there's no indication, no proof to back that up.
Oh, okay. There's people like just kind of saying what they believe in based on their own experiences.
Right. And of course, all of these like algorithm things are never like, what's the word? They're never confirmed. And I
Mhm.
think it's because the algorithm is an AI, so it's always changing.
Yes.
So Instagram can't like confirm anything because otherwise it's going to change in the future.
Yeah.
And then they're going to look like they're lying or something like that. That's how I see it.
Mhm.
Though the algorithm is pretty questionable on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. So, if anything, just do everything.
Yeah, just do everything.
Yeah, just do everything, honestly. And I feel like what's really I found effective is like sharing really helps because like I shared my post and like one of my friends started following Carolyn's art account and then
Oh,
another
really?
friend
Thank you.
actually was like, I'm gonna buy a commission off of her. So like it's I feel like one of the most effective ones because you're literally like exposing more people of their art, which can lead to more views, which lead to
Mhm.
more followers and commissions.
That's so true. And the fact that you show up, I try to do the same thing as well. Just like showing up and like being present, like you said, live stream a show, a exhibition. That means a lot because there's a phrase, a crowd will attract a crowd.
Yes.
So the fact that you're there already helps them with I don't know how you would describe it, publicity maybe, or like garnering interest.
Mhm.
Having people there, it just helps. So again, I appreciate that you do that.
Thank you. And I appreciate you do too, because I have a YouTube channel and Carolyn has two YouTube accounts. Sometimes three.
I have
And sometimes
three.
she watches my video 3 times on separate accounts, comments, likes each
All of them.
Yeah, yeah, and it means so much to me because same with YouTube, there's also an algorithm
Mhm.
in which you like, comment, share that YouTube but oh, this person's really engaging, so I'm gonna push them up so more people can see them. So when you start off small, that it means a lot.
Yep. So hot tips on how to support your fellow creative friends, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I definitely think you're a good friend, Avi.
Thank you.
Like a good friend to me, and I think objectively like a good friend.
Aw, me too.
Oh,
I mean, in terms of yes, I think you're a good friend too.
thank you. Yeah, I thought you were agreeing to like yourself being a good friend, and I'm like, good for you, Davy.
I was like,
Good for
wait, I
you.
had to clarify because I bet she thinks that.
Oh, but can we talk about having friends who are like in the same political space as you for a little
Yeah,
bit?
let's go for it.
Because I feel like there's this sentiment that's like, oh, you're only gonna be friends with people who think the same as you. What is this, an echo chamber or something like that? And I'm like, to me, it's just really annoying because it's like, I feel like politics nowadays very values based, right? So if I'm someone who's more like left leaning and someone on the right who has like completely different values than me. Like they don't care about the things I care about. In fact, some of the things that I care about, they think it's kind of stupid or something like that. Why would I have a friend like that? Like they're probably never going to hear me out, and I think that's the point. They're not going to hear me out. They're probably not going to support me. So that's why I. That's how I feel about it. Like obviously, people are free to have friends all over the political spectrum, and I'm sure they're totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I just feel like I just feel like I'm gonna be like judged and put down by someone who is like actively always advocating for like more right wing political stuff.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. It's not to say we can't be friends with people who like are different political parties or, different parts of the spectrum. Like I'm more left than right. But like we can be friends in different capacities. Is what I'm
Sure,
saying.
we could
And
be
but then
coworkers, you know.
right, exactly. But at the end of the day, it's like for me to like kick it with you and like go to your big events and all this, like it's just easier to be friends with somebody who has same political ideologies because it is really value based right now.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's just a lot different. Like, oh my God, like for example, science is now political.
Yep.
Like no, I don't really want to have a friend who doesn't believe in vaccines or science. No, sorry. Like maybe I will because that's not I'm not gonna be like, oh, you can't be my friend no more because you don't fucking believe in vaccines. But like to politicize that, it's just like that I'm just assuming, but if they don't believe in vaccines and like they believe like more in like conspiracy theory, like, it goes down the line. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. That's hard.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Like at that, if I ever, I usually try to weed that out of people when I first meet them, and I'm
Hmm.
interested in like kind of deepening my relationship with them. I'll find a
Hmm.
way to get it out of them. I'm like, tell me, what are you thinking? I'll make a sly comment to see how they respond.
For sure.
I'm very picky with my friends. Even
Yeah.
the friend label itself, I would hesitate to use that for a lot of people that I'm in contact with, if that makes sense.
Yes,
Like
I agree.
there are my friends whom I check in with actively. I like them a lot and they inspire me. That's how I feel like my friends are. And then
Yeah.
there are my acquaintances
Hmm.
whom I am in contact with. We chit chat every now and again, but otherwise I don't know, they're just people that I know.
Yeah, I agree. I think we had the same viewpoint on friendships because like we're adults, you guys.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah,
is
we
not
are.
high school where we're friends with everybody because we happen to be in the same space.
Yep.
Like we're friends now because it's more intentional. Right now you probably have like I don't want to say weed out. Weed out the bad friends, but like, you know how the cookie crumbles. We know how it crumbles.
Yes, we do.
So, yeah, I think especially as more of an introvert, which is funny because we're like posting a podcast. I'm a very like, what ambivert, maybe an ambivert, like a little bit of both. But as an introvert, like I have very limited energy.
Mhm.
Like I'm gonna need to like relax, refresh after a lot of like social time. So in terms of like having people in my life who like I'm not super down for, like I don't have time for that. I just
Yeah.
don't. I think largely you'll hear later is I've just had like a few toxic friends and I just kind of was like, oh my God, like when I reflect, like my life was so stressful back then when I was friends
Mhm.
with them.
And we will get to that tea very soon.
Hmm.
But first we're gonna jump into like the types of friends you could have.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, like your lifetime best friend for life is probably the type of friend that you do want. But otherwise, uh, I feel like none of these friend types are better to have than one another. I don't know if that makes sense, if you know what I'm talking about.
I think so. Let me say the quote. There's like this really fun quote about friendship. It's like some friends are there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yeah, because like let's say I you and I'm sure we both had like friends who are only friends with you based on proximity, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, you have friends that you had in college because you had classes together and you would be chilling all quarter, all semester because you had like one or two classes together. All of a sudden, next quarter, next semester, you don't have any classes together and they basically drop off the face of the earth. You try to text them every now and again, but they're just all like, I don't know what to say. We don't have classes anymore. I don't want to hang
Right.
out with you.
Just disappear seamlessly.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And I don't want to say that that's a bad thing
It's not.
because, friends come and go. And, if they don't want to be friends with you anymore, like, it's not really, that's not a bad opinion or action to go down.
Exactly. I agree. Because I think that's the quote. It's like, you're friends for a reason. You guys had classes together, but just for some reason, it did not go beyond that.
Yeah.
That friendship did not go beyond that capacity. Let's talk about friendships for a season.
Mm-hmm.
I think seasons little bit different than reason because maybe season could have been like a few years we were friends, but then realized the friendship wasn't working out or just drifted apart.
To
Right.
me, I kind of think of it as like friends who are with you at different life stages, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
okay.
For
Yes.
example, like I had a friend, we would hang out like from like high school to like my early 20s. Like we were chilling all the time because when I was in high school to my early 20s, the only thing I was concerned about was like, oh, I wonder where we should go get boba, or like, oh, I got to study for this test. Like I just didn't care about anything else. I didn't think about my future. I didn't think about potential families to be had. I didn't think about the house that I would have. I just wanted to get through like the next thing, and the thing at the time was like school and college. That was that, and now I've moved on. I'm like, I graduated college, I have a good job, and now I guess you could say I'm more of a traditional adult where I'm thinking about taxes and shit. And the friend that I just mentioned, they're more concerned about, still having fun, still having kind of like regular jobs that don't necessarily like pay well, you know what I mean? If I bring up taxes, they don't want to talk about it, understandably.
Yeah.
But they're like totally disengaged. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of some friendships that were a reason in a season. Sorry, going back to the reason. Yeah, like school or coworker friends,
Yeah.
roommates, for example, are like
Mm-hmm.
friends for a reason. And then for a season, yeah, it could be different periods of your life. Like for example, I had some like really great middle school friends, high school friends. That was for a season, for years. Well, it's like, but you know what I mean. Yeah, and like it was a good time, and like nothing like bad came out of it. It's just the season ended.
Exactly. And I feel like even from a young age, we're indoctrinated with the idea that, like, oh, they're my friend. They should be my friend forever. And, it doesn't have to be that way. And maybe someone who's listening to this and they're like, oh, all my friends always leave me. And
Oh,
um, to that, I say, like, maybe that's something that has to do with you, to which
yeah.
you need to check yourself.
Check
But
yourself, girl, or a boy, or they.
exactly. But the second thing I would say is like that's fine. You know,
Yeah.
just like friendships always come and go. Contrary to popular belief, they actually do come and go.
You heard it here, folks.
Yes, facts.
Yeah, so basically, don't take it personal. Like,
Yes, yes.
I mean, easier said than done,
Mhm.
but really, no one owes you anything, and that sounds really mean and sad, but no one does. Which,
Yeah.
well, I will, but maybe you do think that someone owes you an explanation. That's you. That's what you need closure. And
Yeah, and I don't blame you for feeling that way because, like I said, that's just how we grew up thinking relationships should be. But rarely do you have like really, really good friends who will grow with you over time, right?
yeah.
Like the only person who I would consider like my best friend out loud is Tito, to be quite honest, who's my
Hmm.
fiance, by the way. And I feel safe in saying that because we're gonna be legally binded together very soon through marriage. So it's gonna be hard to leave me.
That legal contract.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
for
yeah.
me,
Mhm.
I feel like I have a lot of like best friends, but then like if we get to the semantics, best means one girl, choose. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, I don't want to choose. But so then usually I'm like, oh, this is like one of my really great friends. That's how I'll introduce people as like Carolyn, for example. Hey, this is Carolyn. She's like one of my really great friends. You know?
Thank
That's
you.
that. So we don't have to get into the semantics like, oh, who's your best friend? I think we're past exactly in middle school, high school, we think one best friend. I think we're past that. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe some of you are lucky. I don't really want to say luck, but maybe some of you just happen to have one best friend who's your ride or die.
Yep.
But I think our social structure is like we have a lot of great friends, like we're community oriented. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey everyone, Carolyn here. So, Davy and I had a lot to say on this topic, and we ended up talking for a long time. So, we decided to split up this big friendship conversation into multiple episodes. In this episode that you just listened to, we talked about our general thoughts and perspectives on friendships. But the next episode is where things get spicy as we recount our toxic friendship stories. So keep an ear and eye out for our next episode. For that, it will be dropping later this week. In the meanwhile, feel free to check out our previous episodes. And if you enjoyed our podcast, please share it with your friends, your family, neighbors, anyone really. You can listen to Just Two Asian Women on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, and YouTube. If you ever want to get in touch with us, feel free to send us an email at justtwoasianwomen@gmail.com. Thank you again for listening to Just Two Asian Women, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.